The last 11 years have been the hottest in human history on record. That's where UCL Grand Challenges comes in, developing innovative solutions for the future of our world. I'm Anoushka Jain, I'm a student at UCL, and today we're at the Grant Museum of Zoology. I'll be talking to Mark Maslin and Lisa Vanhala, the Pro-Vice-Provosts of a climate crisis. I'll be discussing how UCL plans to tackle climate change in the 21st century and beyond. Well, it's great to see you guys here today. Let's get started. So why should climate be important to UCL, and what is the university doing to tackle it?
So the way I see it is there are four major challenges of the 21st century. First one is climate change. Second one is biodiversity. We then have global security issues, and then we have global inequality. And the way University College London is dealing with it is focusing on grand challenges. Now, ours is the climate crisis. And the way we're tackling it is with our experts and our students. We have found out we have over 1,000 experts at UCL working on the climate crisis. But that's not all. We have over 400 experts working on biodiversity issues. And then if we add in the SDGs, the Sustainable Development Goals, we have another 500 colleagues working on those. So we have nearly 2,000 colleagues here working on major environmental issues. And again, universities should be the heart of where this research is done, because we need these solutions now.
That's incredible. I didn't know the numbers were that high. I mean, it's such a big part of why I chose UCL, but I also think the amount of access you get to these researchers, getting to work on projects with them as research assistants and just get to listen to them talk about their work is really incredible and such a big part of why I want to be here.
Well, I think that's one of the great things about UCL, because I hate to say this is what we get out of it as well. Being able to engage with incredible students like yourself really makes our job worthwhile. And of course, we're training the next generation. So you're going to be the next professor, you're going to be the next leader of the world. And at UCL, we know people are going on to do great and amazing things around the world.
Yeah, it definitely feels like professors right now or researchers are handing down their expertise and their knowledge, and they're so willing to work with you or us work with students on making us better leaders and better researchers and just equipping us with those skills. So what are the biggest challenges that the theme is trying to address?
We've identified a few different areas where we want to put some strategic investment. So we know that political will is a real problem holding back climate action. So we have a specific theme focusing on climate governance. We have one focusing on future food systems to help us think about how we can transform the way that we produce and consume food more sustainably. We are also working on sustainable aviation, which is one of those really intractable issues on the mitigation side. And then we also have a large number of experts working on climate change and health. But beyond just these investments in research, we're also working with students, trying to think about how we can transform our curriculum to make sure that all of UCL is learning about climate change so that we're equipping students to be future leaders. The work that we've been doing on Changemakers, I think, follows really well into that category. Do you want to tell a little bit about what we've been doing there?
Yeah, definitely. I would love to talk about that project. Firstly, we've been working with 25 academics and 25 students across all 11 UCL faculties. It's been a really rewarding experience, obviously, but also getting to talk to, for example, immunology students about how shifting mosquito vectors are going to completely reshape medicine, or arts and humanities students about, for example, how the history of art needs to be really looked at through political ecology lenses has been so interesting and cool. And not only are these students building really interesting relationships with professors and really cool curriculum resources for their cohort, it's also just very interdisciplinary as a project, and all these students are speaking to each other and learning from each other. And obviously none of this would have been possible without the grand challenges. So what kinds of research and solutions are being explored through the climate crisis theme?
That's a huge question, because remember, at UCL we have 11 faculties, we have subjects covering the whole range, and therefore we have solutions popping up in architecture, in medicine, in engineering, in earth sciences. So we have so many exciting topics and areas that we're working on, and we're supporting through the Grand Challenge. But I'm going to turn to Lisa. There are things that you really like to highlight in this area?
Yeah, there's a few specific things. So we have amazing projects thinking, for example, about how do we adapt to climate change in the most democratic way possible? How do we make decisions? And we worked with partners at the London Borough of Islington thinking about that. We're doing work thinking about how climate change impacts on children across the breadth, thinking about health, education, their ability to play, the rights of children. And we've been doing some work with UNICEF on that. On the life sciences side, we have amazing researchers working on developing new agricultural technologies and products that can be more drought resilient and be more climate resilient generally.
I mean, that's just a small selection of the incredible work that people do at UCL. And I encourage you and others to go on to the UCL Climate Hub, because there's lots of the stories, lots of the expertise. You can find out a lot more that we do here. But I'm going to turn it around now, because I think it's your turn, because you've been asking way too many questions. I have a question for you. Do you think students at UCL care about climate action?
On a completely optimistic note, I honestly do believe that students care about the climate crisis because of the way I see students engage with my project at UCL, or just engage with climate research at UCL. However, on not such an optimistic note, I don't think students sometimes have the liberty to care or not to care. I don't think it's a choice we're afforded. I think the climate crisis is here. We're going into the workspace. We're going in to change the world, as we like to say. And we need to know how to do that, because if the geographers and earth scientists know how to change the world, but the lawyers don't, and the architects don't, and the engineers don't, or even the philosophers, then how do we change the world, right? Because the people responsible for building it is us, my generation. The students at UCL right now are supposed to build this new world, and we need to know how to do it.
Well, I think that's one of the great things about UCL, is because we take a much more holistic approach, which is thinking about not just the climate crisis, but also inequality around the world, the geopolitics and the other crises that people are facing on a day-to-day basis. So this is why I love the fact that different disciplines are working together, because then we can produce win-win and win-win-win solutions.
Definitely. So a great example is this project that these students I'm working with are doing on building an environmentally friendly hospital for disaster-prone areas. So it's a student from medicine, from architecture, from geomatics engineering, which I didn't know what that was. And they're figuring out how do we build medical care in areas which are disaster prone and also might not have access to electricity, but also need it the most, and trying to figure out who are the most vulnerable people to the climate crisis and how do we help them. All right, well, I have a final question for you. So looking ahead, what kind of role can universities like UCL play in addressing the climate crisis?
This is definitely one for you.
I think UCL sits really well at the future, looking at the future in terms of trying to address the climate crisis. We have this breadth of researchers working in really cutting edge ways to try and address a variety of different challenges related to climate change. We're also thinking about how can we innovate, how can we spin out some of those ideas to make sure that they have an impact out in the world, whether that's through new technologies related to infrastructure or using AI in the best way possible to try and improve the ways we adapt to climate change, or thinking about how we can support policymakers to make sure that they're really having the evidence that they need and the solutions that they're looking for. But I think most importantly, we are training this next generation of researchers. We're building that resilience within students. We're giving them the skills, whether they're sitting in law or in planning or architecture and medicine, to live within a climate resilient world.
Well, thank you so much, Lisa and Mark, for answering my questions. I think it's always so incredible to hear about the work that our lovely researchers are doing at UCL.
And it's amazing to hear what the students think about this and how we can work together, really, on trying to tackle these issues.
I mean, I love the questions because it just reflects what a wonderful place UCL is to work in, but also to be a student. And again, I emphasize this, it's a community and we're working together for a better world.
I mean, I think, yeah, UCL allows you to be so much more than a student. It allows you to be a researcher, allows you to be a project planner, allows you to go out into the field and do some really cool work. And I think that's such an important experience and such an important part of my time at UCL.